Prime Minister Gaston Browne sworn in as the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party gets another term in office. And in sport, Dave Cameron says plans will begin to ensure West Indies capture another World Cup title. I'm Ricardo Roberts and this is Caribbean in 10 for Thursday, March 22nd. I'll be back with the details right after the break.
Man don't care if you not speak English.
This week on I Love Food.
The swearing-in ceremony for Prime Minister Browne has just ended as the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, the APLB, has been returned to office with an overwhelming victory in yesterday's general election. Preliminary results released by the Antigua and Barbuda Electoral Commission showed that Gaston Browne led ABLP won 15 of the 17 seats, with the other two going to the party's main challenger, the United Progressive Party, UPP, and the Barbuda People's Movement, the BPM, which had an alliance with the UPP. Among the winners for the ABLP was Browne, his wife, Maria Bird Browne, a political newcomer. She won the St. John Rural East seat that had been held previously by her father and former Prime Minister Sir Lester Bird. The UPP's victory in the All Saints East and St. Luke's constituency is being challenged by the ABLP candidate Colin James, who lost by 10 votes to the UPP's Jamal Pringle. The lone seat in Barbuda was won by the BPM's Trevor Walker, who defeated the incumbent Arthur Nibbs of the ABLP, but UPP leader Harold Lovell failed to secure his seat, as did the party's deputy leader Wilmoth Daniel. Joanne Messiah, a disgruntled former member of the UPP who formed the Democratic National Alliance that contested the election, also lost her seat. With the campaign behind him, Prime Minister Browne called for unity. He told jubilant supporters that his new administration would work on the progress made in the last 3.5 years. Browne also promised public servants that their pay negotiations would be completed as soon as possible and that a system would be established to meet the arrears owed. The Jamaica government is moving to establish a watch list of people, including dons and gang leaders, who will be subjected to enhanced surveillance. The plan was announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness during his budget presentation on Tuesday. The announcement comes against the backdrop of the declaration of states of public emergency in crime hotspots in the country, the most recent being the parish of St. Catherine.
For too long, persons with gang associations and those who are part of criminal organizations have been proceeding with impunity. Currently, research is being undertaken to guide the establishment of a watch list.
Holness told legislators he will be seeking political consensus on the country's crime plan by reintroducing regular talks with the opposition. And as President David Granger
have rallied around to pass legislation relating to IMF targets.
And Guyana's President David Granger says sustainable tourism is key to the economic development and unification of the Caribbean and the Americas. He was speaking at the opening of the 24th Inter-American Congress of Ministers and High-Level Authorities of Tourism being held in Georgetown. Delegates from 34 countries that are part of the Organization of American States are participating in the meeting, which is being held under the theme Connecting the Americas Through Sustainable Development, or Tourism rather. Granger says climate change and the lack of access to financing pose a serious threat to the tourism industry in the Caribbean and the Americas. He says climate resilient tourism will help the hemisphere better recover from natural hazards.
Climate change is real, at least in this continent. It is not an intellectual invention. It is not political sophistry. Climate change represents the most potent threat to Caribbean tourism, particularly the small island and low-lying coastal states. Rising sea level and eroding beaches, destroying coral reefs, and disrupting marine life, all prime Caribbean tourist attractions as a result of climate change. Extreme weather patterns are precipitating droughts and floods, which diminish food supplies and customer services needed in the tourism sector.
You're watching Caribbean in 10. Stay with us. Your Midday Sport is next. Cricket West Indies President Dave Cameron said Wednesday planning would begin immediately towards ensuring the regional side won next year's World Cup in England. The Caribbean side defeated Scotland by 5 runs under the DLS method in their final Super 6 match of the ICC World Cup qualifiers to secure one of the 2 remaining spots for the global showpiece. In a statement, the CWI boss said, quote, "Every step we make from this point onwards must be to put the building blocks in place for us to be able to win the World Cup for a 3rd time next year. There would be no better place to win the World Cup than in England. We won the first 2 editions of the World Cup when they hosted it, and there is a strong and special connection in the game between there and the Caribbean." He added, "Right now, I know there are a lot of Windies cricket fans in England and indeed the Caribbean keen on making plans to attend the World Cup matches and give the team their full support." End quote. Cameron hailed the effort of the side and the Windies fans, which had backed the team from the outset. The Caribbean side boasts a proud history in the World Cup, winning the first 2 editions in 1975 and 1979 under the legendary Clive Lloyd and reaching the final of the 1983 tournament. And of course, Captain Darren Sammy played a small role in Peshawar Zalal Mahri to trounce Karachi Kings by 13 runs in the Pakistan Super League. We'll hear of that story in our major newscast at 6:30. That's Caribbean in 10. Good afternoon.